Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique Hoffman, and today we're going to be looking at more of Grandma Groiper, aka Megyn Kelly's hypocritical antics online. I've covered Megyn for a few years on this channel and also prior when I had a podcast on the Philos Project, now Two Hammers channel. And I used to adore her. I looked up to her. I thought she was a very leveled, seasoned journalist. And in the last 6 months, I feel like Megyn Kelly has devolved into a petulant bitch online who goes after people who call out her hypocrisy and does the very thing she claims to hate about other people. Now, I've followed Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and their arcs and their evolution for the last 2 years. And what struck me with Megyn Kelly is her inability to call out radical extremism on the right. I was at her Jacksonville show where she interviewed Ben Shapiro and essentially ran interference for Tucker Carlson. At that live show, which I have covered, it's here on this channel. I will link that episode down below if you're at all curious in revisiting what Ben Shapiro said to Megyn Kelly. But Ben laid out an extremely articulate, logical response to the ideological shift and claims that Tucker Carlson has made, which, just to step back and review, not only has Tucker Carlson completely turned into an anti-Semite who blames the Jews for globalism, for the decline of the West, for moral perversion, for the global homo agenda, amongst many, many other claims that he's made on his channel, but since October 7th, he has run interference and defended the Islamic world. He recently went to the Doha Globalist Summit, ironic, because according to Tucker himself, he hates globalists. He hates the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He hates the Clintons, but he'll go and speak at the very event that those individuals are speaking at to promote a globalist agenda. Tucker Carlson is a DC elite who is using his audience to peddle anti-West information as a pro-America. Now, Megyn Kelly didn't speak out against Tucker Carlson. There's a personal relationship there from their time at Fox News. I get that that can be difficult when you are genuinely friends with someone in the public eye. But a part of being a political commentator is calling out bad ideas. And what the left does is they make you as an individual synonymous with your ideas. But you should be able to call out bad ideology, bad political policy while still maintaining a friendship. We saw that with the BLM movement, right? If you didn't support BLM and their ideological agenda, then you had to cut those friends off because they were unwilling to divest of their whiteness. They were not allies. And so Megyn has claimed that she's unwilling to speak out against Tucker Carlson because that's her friend. But Megyn Kelly is not friends with Candace Owens, and she has also run interference for Candace Owens. She claims to be a friend of Charlie Kirk and TPUSA. Yet she didn't have a single thing to say about the slanderous, libel, even maniacal things that Candace has peddled on her channel for the better half of the last 5 months. And one of her justifications in not doing so is because Candace Owens is a young mother. So I'm going to look at the clip because it's very relevant in looking at the interaction she had with Insurrection Barbie on X, who is also a young mother, although that courtesy didn't seem to apply in this X interaction. So this clip is from the Fifth Column. I don't believe that they are associated with the Megyn Kelly show anymore. They used to be very regular guests. Megyn was never a Republican. Even at Fox News, Megyn was a centrist. She wasn't associated with either party. When she moved to CBS, she became more liberal. She was interviewing trans kids on her morning show. When MAGA, anti-liberal, woke ideology policies became popular and mainstream 2 or 3 years ago, she was at the helm of that conversation. But she's never been conservative. In fact, when it was popular to hate Donald Trump, she was also on that bandwagon. She's a grifter, just like Candace Owens. And we're going to look at how she attacks someone who calls out her inconsistencies in the exact same way Candace does. But first, I want to frame the X thread I'm going to walk you through with this interview from 4 months ago.
Which I don't believe. I'm not going to do it. And now it's turned into like this faction that's trying to pressure me online. It feels to me like the BLM people. Raise your fist and say it. Say it.
It does have that dimension to
And
it.
the answer's no.
Yeah.
Now that you're making me say it, a condition of our relationship, it's a hard no.
But
Now
this is
you've
literally
only
a conversation we had
You've
today,
only
by the
hardened
way.
my resolve to
Yeah,
never do it.
yeah.
Like I will never be bullied. Ask anybody. That's the one thing that I will never bend the knee to. I'm not going to be bullied
I
into
mean, look,
saying
is
something.
that, let me ask you a question about that, because we had saying we had lunch today and we are talking about this, in that is clearly your response on X and on your show is that the more you push me, the more I'm going to say fuck you to you, which is a honest and natural response.
Irish, yeah.
An Irish response. I don't want to impugn my people, but that's who we are. It's like, don't fucking make me say it because I'll fucking punch you. But that kind of response, like if it wasn't that way, if there wasn't that big push, you just gave Andy McCarthy, like, you said, I love the guy, but
that's the irony.
Here's where I think he's wrong.
Totally the irony.
So you can say that about people.
No,
you have said that about a lot of people. But when they say do it to Tucker or Candace, you pull back.
So Tucker is in a different camp because I adore Tucker. I love him.
I will say, and I've said this, and I've said this privately to people, because incidentally, people have said from Tucker.
Okay, so she goes on a lengthy explanation as to why Tucker's different, because that's her friend. For a while, I thought it was because she was afraid of the Candace army of deranged cult followers who she has overlapping viewers with. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. And so this was incentivized by subscriber numbers and monetary concerns for her, not just channel, but also the media company that she has created. However, I think it is more ideological, as we're about to see with this X thread. If you're a journalist and you deal in the realm of ideas, you can't get so frustrated at either negative criticism, constructive criticism, or pushback. That's your industry. That's your job. It's like being a primary school teacher who hates kids. Then it's not your industry. It's not your job. If you get mad at the kids for having a meltdown, that comes with the territory. So in the same vein, Megyn Kelly has been in this industry for years. She claims to be a hardened journalist, a lawyer, someone who spoke out against Roger Ailes, her boss. She Me Too'd him. She's strong. She's independent. She can take shit. But not when it's criticism or valid constructive critiques. That she's going to get really, really angry about, really agitated about, say, absolutely F you. I'm not going to do it. The more you tell me to do it, I'm not going to do it. The other thing I'll say, because I've also mentioned this in other podcasts, Megyn's saying, well, don't bully me. If you bully me, I'm not going to do it even more. But Megyn herself is a bully. She has an entire parody on Meghan Markle, the most inconsequential figure in American social and political life. Instead of just letting her live in obscurity, Megyn Kelly constantly platforms whatever Meghan Markle is doing, makes fun of her, and has even gone to the extent of parroting Meghan Markle's cooking show on her own channel. Megyn Kelly goes after someone like Kim Kardashian all the time. Megyn herself is a bully. Okay, so she moves on to address why she has not spoken out against Candace Owens.
Know her. I don't really know her that well. Although I will tell you, we recently had a very nice exchange before all this. And I was just reminded in my own head that Candace is a young mom of 3 young kids. She's under a lot of pressure. She's got a big show. She's been under attack since she came onto the public airwaves, and she's been under attack constantly. And it's my prerogative if I say to myself, that is not someone I wish to attack. I do not feel that way. I don't want to do it. And I felt this way. And now that people have made my attacking her the stakes of my relationship with whatever person is saying this, I'm going to have to say goodbye to that person. I won't do it.
Okay. One of the reasons she gives, and you can tell it's kind of a flippant response that she says, it just came to mind. She's a young mom. What does that have to do with, the price of gas, like my dad would say? Like Kim Kardashian, young mom. Erica Kirk, who Candace Owens has gone after, someone you claim as a friend, is a young mother. Candace Owens is the least maternal woman on the conservative airways. It's a really shallow excuse, which someone like Megyn Kelly, who's a seasoned lawyer and journalist, you think would be able to at least manufacture a defense which is substantive enough. She might as well just come out and say, no, I actually agree with Candace is saying. Because again, her good friend, Erica Kirk, mother to 2 children, a single mother now, a widow, she doesn't seem to care that Candace, also mother, is going after her with vehement wrath and hatred that has completely tarnished TPUSA's reach, mission, and reputation. This is Megyn Kelly talking about Kim Kardashian not passing the bar, and Kim posted on, I believe, their Hulu TV show. It was featured her raw reaction to finding out that she didn't pass the bar. And listen to how ungracious Megyn Kelly is. Again, Kim Kardashian, you can disagree with how they hypersexualize themselves, although I would argue Kim Kardashian is now not attempting to be the sex icon that she was in her younger years. Ironically, Kim Kardashian, even if she hasn't passed the bar, is a brilliant businesswoman. Skims is now a $1 billion company. So for Megyn Kelly to go after her and talk so condescending, like she's just such a dumb idiot, I think highlights her true mean girl character, which I really didn't see until the last year or so.
Who is dying to do what you three do, what I once did for nearly 10 years. And that is to be to be a practicing attorney. She can't do it so far. She didn't go to law school. She's doing like an apprentice program, which you can do in some states, including California, where she lives, where you work under the apprenticeship of an existing lawyer. Then you have to take the baby bar after year one, which she did. She failed it several times and then eventually, I guess, passed. And now she's trying to take the real bar in California, and she failed miserably. Here she is in a video she posted of herself crying while preparing for it. Didn't go well. SOT 38.
No, I don't have this. I got this. Shit. I really want it. I really, really want it.
Fuck, I'm gonna film this because, oh my God, I'm just so tired. But it's like every time I feel like I'm a step ahead, something happens to try to stop me from doing this.
You didn't go to law school. That's what it is.
That's the problem.
But I just want to a part of me just wants to stop. I just feel like my brain's going to explode. And I still have so much more to go.
Okay.
I know.
Not everyone was meant to be a lawyer, guys.
No. And we don't need more lawyers. We need better lawyers.
Kim Kardashian.
The narcissism of Megyn Kelly. Okay, good for you, Megyn. When you went to law school, you were a young woman without a family. That was your sole focus. I dare say getting into law school a few decades ago was probably a little bit easier than today as well. And that was your sole focus and dedication. Kim Kardashian has 4 children. She went through a very public divorce and the mental breakdown of her ex-husband. She runs a media empire. She's part of a very successful reality TV show. And she did do her apprenticeship in California, all while making Skims, as I said already, a billion-dollar business. I think that's a lot more than what you or any other typical law student has on their plate when they go to law school. And don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of how the Kardashians came to prominence in society. What I will say is, yes, does Kim sexualize herself still? Does she have a lot of fake parts to her body, her boobs, her butt? Sure. Are those healthy beauty standards for young women? No. I can concede all of that, while not personalizing her struggle to achieve something intellectual. Megyn, for years, has chastised the Kardashians for being body-focused and body-centered and teaching young women that body and sex are going to get you what you want in life. She's pivoted. She's become a businesswoman, a successful one. Again, billion with a B, dollar company. And now she's trying to go to law school to better herself intellectually. And you're going to condescendingly say, well, that's what I did for 10 years. And that's what you did too, to her guest. And not everyone's meant to be a lawyer. In response to a really vulnerable video where Kim Kardashian is crying and frustrated, and all of us have been there. All of us have pursued a dream and the door is not opened, or no matter how hard you study, it just doesn't go how you hope or wanted. And just maliciously and viciously go after Kim Kardashian for that vulnerable moment speaks to the mean girl energy and heart of Megyn Kelly. I'm sorry. I have agreed with many of her critiques about the Kardashians when it comes to the social implications and the societal norms of plastic surgery and over-sexualization, but that's not what this specific segment was about. This was about attacking Kim Kardashian, attacking her intellect, attacking her ability to pass the bar. And the irony of all of this is, yes, was Megyn Kelly a trial attorney? Yes. Has Megyn Kelly been a seasoned journalist for a long time? Yes. But let's take a look at kind of past Megyn. So this is Megyn Kelly's GQ shoot. I believe this was in 2011. Let's see. Let's scroll down. 2010. So this was right in kind of her peak anchor days. And I don't know about you, but for someone who chastises other women promoting themselves and achieving success through sexualizing themselves, this looks like a pretty sexualized shoot. But this isn't screaming like the voice for moral female clarity on the right. And we all know the scandal with Fox News and Roger Ailes. There are so many women who could do what Megyn Kelly did. I guarantee you she played in and she knew exactly what Roger Ailes was doing. And then she tried to have a Me Too moment after that and claimed that she was the victim of sexual harassment, despite the fact that she stayed in that job for years and years and years and enjoyed the benefits of being on primetime. And trust me, I've worked in DC. It's very clear when your boss is hypersexualizing you. And then that's your choice to either stay, speak out about it, but you can't play both sides. You can't lean into it and then have your Me Too moment, which is exactly what Megyn Kelly did. And again, this GQ shoot plays into this idea of hyper female sexualization, which great. I mean, I think it's tasteful compared to the Kardashians, but it's suggestive. She's in basically black lingerie and her boobs are falling out. She constantly attacks women for getting lip filler or cosmetic surgery. Megyn Kelly has had a nose job, which again, who cares? But if you're going to vehemently attack women for, having cosmetic surgery, don't be a hypocrite. So this is a side-by-side on Google of Megyn Kelly's nose. And this is not shaming any work that Megyn Kelly has had done. I'm a huge proponent of if it's going to make you feel empowered, feel better, do it as part of the benefits of living in our modern age. I suggest women do it tastefully, but it's up to you what you want to do. So in this photo right here, you can definitely see, this is I think senior high school photo. Megyn Kelly has an extremely bulbous nose here. In this picture, you can see here, this is definitely the shaving down of her nose. You can see that there's clearly been some sort of a nose job. Not a really good one. I think she's had corrective surgery since then. And I'm not showing you this to make fun or be mean about Megyn Kelly, but again, demonstrate hypocrisy, a mean girl spirit, and a lack of journalistic integrity. So this image right here is of Erin Moriarty. Megyn completely attacked the way that she looked. And this article touches on Erin knows best. Hypocritical Megyn Kelly's wonky nostrils show that she's 100% had a nose job. She's done Botox for 16 years, too. Similar to Kim Kardashian, Erin Moriarty is of no consequence. Her own cosmetic surgery is of her own business. I didn't even know who this girl was, so it's not like she's a prominent political figure who's consequential to society and the culture. There's no journalistic angle here. This is just Megyn Kelly going after someone for having cosmetic surgery. Okay, so this leads me to the recent controversy. So in New York, now with Mamdani in New York as the mayor, there is now a population of Muslims who feel empowered to enforce their Islamic norms on their Western neighbors. This is a Daily Mail headline, which Congressman Randy Fine was responding to. Famous Palestinian activist calls for dogs to be banned as indoor pets in New York because they are un-Islamic. On October 7th, there is a ton of footage. It's very sensitive, so I will not play it. The terrorists viciously not just killed innocent Jewish men, women, children, and infants, but they also viciously murdered the dogs who were pets in the kibbutzim that were targeted on October 7th. Muslims hate dogs. They're not haram. Congressman Randy Fine responded to this, and he said, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. You don't want to assimilate to the West? You want to enforce your Islamic norms in the country that has welcomed you? Then go back to the Islamic world that all these Muslims have fled from. Then go back there. You don't get to come to the United States and tell us we can't walk our dogs outside because it offends you. Either embrace pluralism or go back home. I completely agree with Congressman Fine, and I think most Americans would as well. And then you have Megyn Kelly chime in and she says, UTF is this. So either Megyn Kelly lacks the due diligence to look into this larger conversation and cultural and civilizational debate and how that is now leaking into real policy positions in places that are becoming more sympathetic to Islam and Islamic norms. But she just jumps straight into this and tries to make some sort of a moral claim, which when we take into consideration her unwillingness to call out Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens for their Islamic sympathies, I'm just going to start ascertaining that Megyn Kelly is sympathetic to this anti-West embrace of Islam in the United States. So she tries to have a moment on X. Okay, this is where Insurrection Barbie, who I mentioned at the top of the episode, comes in. She's anonymous, which comes into play in the follow-up rebuttals of Megyn Kelly. She calls out the hypocrisy that I've noted over and over again and demonstrated in this video. She said, funny how she had zero to say when Candace told her audience, Jews drink the blood of Christian children, Erica Kirk traffics them, Jews are pedos who run the world. I could literally go on and on for hours. Hypocrisy isn't as tolerated on the right as on the left. They get away with double standards because they have none. So Megyn Kelly, surprise, surprise, does not like being called out for her hypocrisy. And she tried to have a moral aha moment with Congressman Fine, who happens to be a Jew. So again, she's going to go after people on her own side who she claims she won't divide the right, but only when they're Jewish and only when they correctly point out that Islamic norms have zero place in the West. Then she's going to come out big, bad, and morally charged to call out the bad Jew. Megyn, of course, doesn't respond to Insurrection Barbie with any intellectual rebuttal. All she says is, "This you," at Defiantly Free Insurrection Barbie. And it is a since debunked claim trying to unearth who Insurrection Barbie is, because remember, Insurrection Barbie has been anonymous for years. Meet Irina, very long middle name I'm not going to try and pronounce, Sedano. And it claims that in 2017 she pled guilty to felony theft for $2K, to fraud and forgery charges, to felony theft of $80K, to peddling Israeli propaganda. Okay, this was completely debunked. So either Megyn Kelly was deeply embarrassed for not doing any due diligence in researching who Insurrection Barbie is and the fact that she is famously anonymous. So she addresses this. She says, "No, Megyn, I know you're right. I know you're spiraling right now because there's a chain of posts that anyone who's reading this can follow to their source and see you are simply deflecting," which is completely true. "That's right. I called you a hypocrite for attacking Rep. Randy Fine," again a Jew, "while defending Candace Owens, her Jew hate, as well as her attacks on Erica Kirk. You attacked Mark Levin," which she did vehemently attack Mark Levin, "Josh Hammer, Randy Fine, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro. Since you hit all the Jews, are you moving on to evangelical Christians now?" So she aptly points out that, again, this moral high ground, I'm not going to be divisive, I'm not going to call out someone just because I disagree with them, yet she'll call out every conservative Jew, speaks to the worldview that either Megyn Kelly herself espouses or she's too afraid to speak out against. And just like the woke left, they can't interact with facts. They cannot debate. So they appeal to pathos. They make it personal. And Megyn continues to personally attack this young mother of 2 children, which apparently young mothers are off the table for her. So then Megyn either wants to double down because she's embarrassed, or she continues to want to get this gotcha moment. She responds to Insurrection Barbie, who says, "No, I've addressed these claims. They're lies," multiple times. Megyn said, "If by addressing it, you mean you already confirmed it all in writing, then yes, I saw that, Defiantly Free." What she's referring to is a satirical X tweet where Insurrection Barbie said, "LOL, yes, you got me, baby doxer. This is totally 100% me. Everyone can now feel good knowing that and maybe stop the new attempt dox stuff every other week. Totally me. I will still be exposing the Muslim Brotherhood. I will still be exposing Indivisible, and I will still be pro-Israel unapologetically. Daily doxing attempts, personal threats, and intimidation don't work. I will post whatever content I want, and if you don't like it, feel free to scroll up, whoever the heck you are, and I will definitely continue to be pro-Israel." This is so clearly not her affirming the claim that she was Irina or that other lady. She's satirically saying like, "Oh yeah, like you got me. That's not me." So Megyn either can't read sarcasm, which I'm starting to think Megyn actually might not be a brilliant lawyer and reporter. You can be smart and competent and not be intellectual or a great critical thinker. Or she's just doubling down because she doesn't want to admit that she's wrong. She goes on to say, "Do you now deny being disbarred and participating in Illinois under the name listed by this account, and then losing your law license for felony theft, and then after that being charged with felony forgery? Because now I'm really interested." Now, Megyn Kelly sounds as about deranged as Candace Owens and as unintelligent as Candace Owens. This is literally something Candace would do. And it actually is a tool out of Candace's book, which is doxing people and making claims, not being able to infer irony, not being able to critically think, and drawing lines and comparisons between things that actually have no relationship to each other at all. So now Megyn Kelly is devolving into a Candace Owens. So then Insurrection Barbie aptly points out, "I'm not sure which is more pathetic. One, Grandma Groyper's inability to comprehend sarcasm, Or 2, Grandma Groiper's photoshopping skills. Once again, if you were a journalist, you could read about or listen to one of my Any X spaces where this has been asked and answered. Also, trying to take down one of the biggest supporters of Trump simply because I'm not a neo-Nazi hater is a bad look. Couldn't agree more. So while going after a mother and a conservative for aptly pointing out her vicious attempts to call out the Jews and her dedication to calling out those individuals on the right while maintaining it's not her role to police the conservative party and turn a blind eye to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and their deranged anti-Western ideals and ideology, which is greatly impacting the party. Megyn condemns Randy Fine. She says, "What I figured out, you pathetic, sweaty man." Again, making it personal is when an idiot Muslim says no dogs in NYC. Instead of attacking the person or the policy, you went full bigot. Period. Fuck off. Period. I'm starting to question if Megyn Kelly is now like just a true malignant narcissist like Candace Owens, but just dressed a little bit differently. Not only does Megyn Kelly chastise this man for going after Muslims in general and calling him a bigot, which if Megyn Kelly would educate herself, she would know that all Muslims do not view dogs as haram. And in the Islamic world, they are not held as pets. And so this is a civilizational norm debate, not just an individual man in New York calling for no dogs. So there's that lack of honesty in her response to him. But in condemning him for making it personal and becoming bigoted, she attacks him as a pathetic, sweaty man and tells him to fuck off. It's the same hypocrisy as going after young women for getting augmentations to their face, for changing things about them, for leaning into their sex appeal, when her entire career was built on her sex appeal and she herself has had work. She's elevating herself as some moral voice within the conservative movement. She's a grifter. She's shape-shifted her ideals and policies again. She was at Fox News. She was pretty centrist. She was anti-Trump. Then she moved to CBS. She would interview trans kids. She got fired from that because her show was abysmal and the ratings were in the toilet. And then now she has her own independent media company, of which she rose to popularity because she was speaking to conservative issues at the rise of new media and in anticipation of President Trump running again. And she championed these policy positions that positioned her to absorb a lot of the audiences that were disenchanted with mainstream media who happen to lean conservative, so much in the same way that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are grifters and leaning into a persona and pursuing the numbers and the audiences that are most apt to listen to them at that given time. Megyn Kelly is the same. Megyn Kelly is a mean girl who is really quickly devolving into someone very similar to Candace Owens, which is maybe why she has an affinity for her, and who obviously is embracing this anti-Jew narrative that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are peddling. And the hypocrisy of all of it is that Megyn still insists on positioning herself as a more moderate, centrist, conservative-leaning journalist who, in this thread I just showed you, did very little due diligence in researching what she was claiming Insurrection Barbie was. She obviously doesn't understand the civilizational debate of norms between the West and Islamic world. And I don't know if it's because she's intellectually dishonest or if Megyn Kelly really isn't the brilliant lawyer and anchor that she claims to be. And the more I think about it and look back, because I have followed Megyn Kelly for years, Megyn doesn't really provide analysis or substance. She literally copy and paste reports fact. And in some instances, I really admire that because journalism in that sense is largely bygone. Really similar to Candace Owens, she latches on to narratives and ideas and attacks and goes after people personally. Even the Savannah Guthrie story, yes, Megyn Kelly touches on true crime, but she's made it the personality of her podcast for the last 2 weeks to investigate as a citizen journalist what the heck is going on. And while it's important to inform your audiences in a very similar manner to Candace Owens, she has almost entitlement to know the facts, to dissect every aspect of what is publicly available. And honestly, going after someone who I think Megyn Kelly is perhaps a little jealous of or holds some animus towards. She claims to know Savannah Guthrie from her time at CBS, but she hasn't really covered this case in a way that honors Savannah as a quote-unquote friend or even former colleague, at least the same courtesy she claims to uphold for someone like Tucker Carlson. And I think she feels a certain way because she was let go from CBS and Savannah Guthrie is their shining star. And you can see that in the way that she has speculated about people within Savannah Guthrie's family. And while speculation is, of course, okay, a healthy dose of it, like I said, similar to Candace Owens, she has now made this the entire focus and personality of her channel for the last 2 weeks. People like Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly do this because they actually don't have much to constructively contribute to the cultural and political debate happening in the United States. I'm convinced Megyn Kelly is a grifter in the exact same way Candace Owens is. She's just slightly more palatable and has a long-standing career, which lends her the perception of credibility. But if you take a look at how she has approached debate politically and socially over the last few years, you see something a lot darker. You see someone who is inherently a mean girl. I'll see you in the next episode.